On today's podcast, I thought I'd take a bit of a look at leadership. I have been questioning leadership and where it exists in the world today, with elections all over the world that seem to be really divisive, with ongoing wars in Gaza, Ukraine, the civil war in Sudan. There is so much happening that you start to wonder, what is the future? And, you know, sport for so many people is a way out to have to not think about those sorts of things, but it's really crucial that in sport we also have leadership because there's all sorts of issues that arise in sport that needn't necessarily be there. Now, in thinking about leadership, there's been a few examples over the past couple of weeks that have taken me back to community and thinking about where elite sport comes from. And it starts with those little green seedlings in the community. I heard Paddy Mills recently talking about the importance of community with his playing number at Utah Jazz. I saw the awards at the NRL and NRLW a couple of weeks back, where some of the true leaders in the sport of rugby league were recognised for the incredible work they do, mostly unsung, within the community, making absolute differences to people's lives. And I thought, for those that don't listen to the 1 hour audio podcast of the Sports Ambassador, I'd share this clip with you. This is Bonnie Toogood. She's a co-captain of the Essendon AFLW team. And in the middle of AFLW's Indigenous round, we were having a chat and leadership came up. One of the words that she used, and we hear it frequently in sport and elsewhere, was authenticity. Now, I delved into that a little bit more strongly with Bonnie to ask exactly what she meant by authenticity and whether that is the key to good leadership. So let me ask you this, because it's a word we hear all the time with women's sport, and that word about authenticity and being able to be authentic. What does that mean? And why is it different to what men's sport has come to represent?
I think and I'm not saying that the men's competition doesn't show this, because we do see the heart and soul and the hard work that goes into what they do. I think because we haven't had this at the top level, and we haven't had female footballers seen as professional, and that we are right now in a history-making spot, that there is this real heart, there's this real enthusiasm when we play the game. And I think when I talk to supporters, it's like, gosh, just don't back down from any contest. Like, there's just this, it's still raw, and it's still like we're playing at those community grounds. So it's a really family friendly environment. We celebrate particularly like Pride Round, who a lot of the Pride community started women's football. Like, there's a rich history there, and we celebrate that, I think, really well. So I think they're all the elements that make AFLW so authentic, and it's not lost on the players that we're at the moment, particularly the ones that have been around since day dot, of like how grateful we are to have this opportunity. But we're not resting on gratitude. Also, we're wanting to push this competition to the professional standards that it needs to be, to make sure that we're a product that is entertaining, that fans want to engage with, that commercial want to engage with. So I think they're all the elements that make AFLW so authentic, and it's about getting those stories out.
And I didn't think I was going to get so philosophical with you in this interview, but you mentioned the Matildas then, and I've been wrestling in my mind about just why it had such a dramatic effect right around the country. And I was conscious of the number of men, maybe even older men, that were coming up to me outside every ground and saying, we actually prefer watching the women play soccer football now than we do to the men's teams. And I think it's because of that authenticity that you talk about. And so now I'm wondering, once you get to those more professional levels and you do have the same sorts of, the same grounds, the same marketing, the same commercial recognition, the same professionalism and all the support around the team, does it then lose some of that, which is such a strong part of the appeal initially?
I hope it doesn't go down that path and we lose that. I don't, maybe biased in my opinion because I think females rock. But I think it's ingrained in women in particular, to be that authentic self, a lot more. And I know that's it's a huge generalization, and we have gotten very philosophical. But I think with how the AFL want to set up AFLW, how the players are buying into AFLW, I don't think we will lose that. I think there's such a strong drive at the moment that your athlete career is finite, and there is a whole life ahead of you post your career. You might have a 2-year career, you might have a 10-year career if you're lucky, and you've got to be doing the work off field as well. Firstly, to keep yourself balanced as an athlete, but also to know that being an athlete will come to an end at some point. And what we're seeing in the men's space is that it's all footy for so long, and then they finish up and you hear the stories of them not knowing what to do after that. I don't think we'll ever get to that point. So I think you're not going to lose that authenticity, because we want to strike the right balance where it's professional enough, where we're recognized and seen as professional athletes, but not lose the ability to work on our off-field career and the balance that we have in life. Like, sometimes I come to training, we've got a paramedic in our team, Sophie Alexander, and I'm like, you've just gone on a shift or a night shift or something, come to training, the stories, the day that you've had, and come to train and do what you do on a weekend. But like, it has that, it's so authentic. And there's stories like that all over. We've got teachers in our team. I used to play with a police officer. So it's kind of like there's all these day jobs that keep you grounded and connected to almost like normal life. And I think that's super important, and striking that right balance where it's professional and we're professional athletes, we're doing what we need to do, making sure that we're playing the best football that we can, but also not losing sight of what our life will be after football, and striking that right balance. And I think that keeps us grounded and connected.
Great answer. I've loved chatting to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Tracy. We did get philosophical, didn't we?